Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced CP is two amazing and talented El Pasoans here. Mr. Ray Ramos, co-creator of Cryptidnals, right?
You got it.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I get it right, man. And I also have David Olivarez, co-creator and artist. Right now, his latest book, Lucha League, correct?
Lucha Liga, huh?
Lucha League. Sorry, man, the white boy came out of me in that part. Apologize. I apologize. No, I
No
appreciate
worries.
you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. We're also here to talk about 656, one of 656 newest comics coming out too is Bloodhammer. Dude, you guys have done some amazing stuff, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
sir. Appreciate it.
Ray, I'll go to you first. I've known you for a while. We finally met like about I think about a year or two ago
Hmm.
over at Comic Addict, man. And then we always hang out and talk, especially like Comic Con things like that. You guys have been doing a lot of stuff. You have a lot of things under your belt at 656 Comics, and right now you guys are working on a new one, right?
Yeah, man. It's like we've always been chasing each other around, man. Like you're always in my orbit, Ray. And but we never seem to like meet up. It's like the sun chasing the moon, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we've been working on stuff for like the longest time. Currently with 656 Comics, we've been doing comics. Dave and I, between us and separately for like the past, man, I don't even want to say it, like 20, 25 years. So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But currently 656 Comics is our home. That's where we're putting stuff out. Currently, we're working on for 656 Comics. We're working on The Abyss Between Stars, which is like Skinwalkers meets the movie Stand by Me.
Mhm.
And then we just finished the Cryptidnals a few months back, so that's pretty much sold out everywhere. You can't really find a
Yeah.
copy unless you go on eBay. And other things here and there. But Dave and I currently are collaborating on a book called Bloodhammer,
Mhm.
which is kind of a throwback to the 90s action, high octane concept kind of books where it's just nothing but balls to the wall action kind of stuff. They're reminiscent of the image days, the early image days.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, you guys have a distinct style there, especially in Cryptonals, man. It just the art, the coloring. It's like, I mean, it's dark, but dude, it is so like, it's kind of it's a to me, it's like original, man, because I really never seen a style to like anywhere close to it.
Yeah, the artist Dario, who's also part of Six Flags Comics, he's the one that he's kind of like a chameleon. I've been talking a lot about him lately. He's the
Mm.
co-creator of the Cryptidnals. He can like shapeshift when it comes to his art, man. And currently, he just finished a mural on the side of a building in Juarez. Like he's always commissioned to do something.
Yeah.
He's worked on children's books. He's worked on animation. He's done a lot of stuff. And when I approached him to do the Cryptidnals, he asked me, "What type of art do you want?" And I always saw the book kind of like a Junji Ito type book, like a Gustave Doré type art, and he was able to match it, and that's what you see, coming through
That's
in those
cool.
pages.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, and then like talk a little bit like I guess if you want to touch a little bit on Bloodhammer, what's that one's like what's the premise or what's that without giving too much away, what's that one's gonna be?
I'll turn it over to Dave because
Dave.
he's it's I'm just the scripter on that book, kind of like the idea guy, but Dave's the one behind the curtain kind of thing. So go ahead, Dave.
Oh,
With
Dave, yeah.
Bloodhammer, it's a collaboration between me and Ray.
Yeah.
Uh, Art wise, it's very monster oriented. There's a lot of callbacks to like Universal monsters,
Mhm.
and then a lot of the other monsters that are going to be coming out are throwbacks to like 80s slashers, kind of like Jason, Freddy. So it's a mishmash of both those two worlds, but it does have a strong story underneath that. And then like coming back to the whole 90s approach to it is
Mhm.
that we wanted to have that over the top type artwork, but with stronger stories as opposed to the 90s where the stories were a little bit, weaker.
Mhm.
I feel that Ray brings a lot as a writer to the premise and really fleshes out all the characters.
Oh, that's cool, man. I kind of like that style and that idea of like taking those Universal monsters and just kind of making, I would say just like making them your own, you know? Is that it's kind
Yeah,
of like what you guys are doing?
that's one of the neat things about monsters in general is that back in the day when people were creating Frankenstein, Dracula, it was completely original, completely different,
Mhm.
and they've pretty much lasted. the test of time, so much so that anybody can put their little spin on it.
Right.
And Ray and I have been working together for quite some time. We've actually played around with a story like this a few years ago, but I feel like this story has mirrors what we originally did when we first started working on comic books,
Hmm.
but also has that new spin to it where it's kind of the same, but it has its obvious differences from what we originally were working on.
Oh, that's cool. And then like kind of like if you want David talk a little about like kind of how this idea kind of came up a little bit if you want to give us a little glimpse into the
With
brainstorming.
with the Bloodhammer, it's just really there's this character that I had visually liked a lot. It actually it's like a toy line, but I actually had to ask Ray about it because he follows it more than I do.
Mhm.
It has to do with a Mezco toy. What's the name? I think his name is Doc Nocturnal or something like that.
Yeah, it's
And
Doc Nocturnal.
Nice.
and I just really went off of that premise. It was more like I liked. I have a strong affection towards like the strong singular characters. So with me, it was just like that character really enticed me, but I wanted to do my own version. And just the mere fact that the story had monsters visually for me, that's like a big thing for me. Where I have to have monsters coming out from every corner, and that's really what inspires me to create.
That's cool. Yeah, because I'm a huge fan of that era and all those monsters,
Mhm.
and it's just so cool to see. And then like we actually finally took a trip down to the Universal and got to see most of them too. And it's just like it's just
Nice.
so
Oh
cool to be able to take that idea from you guys and you guys make it your own. That's just so cool.
yeah, yeah. That's like I said. For me, monsters, any kind of monsters, whether it's like science fiction monsters or like I said, going back to slashers, like with the '80s characters, Basket Case. I
Hmm.
mean, just something different. Even like the Fly from what is it called from David Cronenberg.
Hmm.
That to me, just the visual part of that character is just very like, oh wow, it's
Yeah,
all inspiring.
that's cool. Do you have a favorite monster?
Favorite monster for me is Freddy
Freddy?
Krueger.
Nice. What about you, Ray? You got a favorite one?
The creature from the Black Lagoon, man. I love that
Oh,
one.
dude.
I love that creature. And just to touch on what Dave was saying about the way that we're approaching this book, this story, I know you watched it. All of you have watched it. The Monster Squad,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
So in the part in the Monster Squad that always got to me, and I think that we're having this conversation. That's how this whole concept came about a bit. Is what happens when at the end of the Monster Squad, when Van Helsing comes out and grabs Dracula and they pulls him into that
Portal.
tunnel, that portal, right?
Mhm.
What happens after that? Because Dracula isn't dead, Van Helsing is very much alive. What happens after that? So that's kind of a hint as to what Bloodhammer is about, kind of.
Oh, nice. That's cool. And then like movies like that or stories like that, you can take and like, put your own spin on it, like what happened after. And that's just so cool. Like you guys are so creative, like to be able to do something like that.
That's one of the things that I think that Ray and I have always aspired, I should say, as
Hmm.
creators, is that we always try to be, even though these are characters that are already made up, we try to give it our own original story and give it something that it's
Yeah.
like a spin that a lot of people haven't really seen, and I'm pretty sure they're going to enjoy.
That's cool. I can't wait. You guys have a date in mind, or is that still in the
The
works or
the book itself is actually complete.
nice?
As far as the art, Ray is already working on the script, so I want to say like maybe September, October for
Oh,
the
dude,
first issue.
that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a good
Yeah,
time to look out for.
we're working the Marvel way, and don't get me wrong, man. Knowing Dave all these years is kind of like a what is it called, a marriage, I guess you could say. He's my hetero life partner, if you want to call him that, because we're always button heads when it comes to creativity, when it comes to doing art and story and stuff like that. But hopefully, if everything works out the way that we're planning it, we can launch this at the end of July.
Hmm.
Maybe do like a Kickstarter, or maybe do a Fund My Comic. That's a new, I guess, what is it called? A platform
Yeah.
to in order
Oh,
to
that's
to
cool.
sell the book, and get it all together, and hopefully we'll have it out by Halloween, because that would be perfect if we
That'd
could
be
have it out
that.
by
I was
Halloween.
gonna say that would be the perfect time to release that one,
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
dude.
Have some
That'd be cool.
signings, get some merch out there, see what we can do. But we're really excited about this project. It's been a while since we worked together, collaborated together, because like my lady says, like we can't like meet eye to eye. Sometimes it seems like we're always arguing on
the
stuff.
the the biggest hurdle as far as me as a creator, and
Yeah.
a lot of people have seen this who know me really well, is getting the story completed, getting the art completed. And if it shows anything, is that the mere fact that I finished the artwork on time,
Mhm.
I want to say says a lot of as far as how hyped we are about the project, and how much we really want it to come out, and so people can see it and so everybody can enjoy
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it when it comes to
it.
that.
Hey, but it just proves the hetero life mate thing that you guys butt heads, but you guys are still friends and still get the creativeness out of each other.
I like how Ray doesn't like to date it, but we met in '92, and we've been together for how many years?
We've been together, really?
Nice,
It's a very brother from another mother type
nice.
relationship that we've had, and we've worked together off and on. But this is the first project we can actually say it's almost done and it's going to get out. So to me, like I said, that says a lot as far as both of us are concerned,
Mhm.
and then just how much I really feel that the story itself is worth getting out to people and enjoying it.
That's cool, man. I can't wait. Then it sounds. I love the premise of Bloodhammer, dude. And you guys got me hooked. So I can't wait. I'm excited. You got me.
Nice, very nice.
Nice. And then also, Dave, you've worked on a late like one of your latest ones. You got Lucha League. Is
Lucha
another
League,
another project you've done.
yes, Lucha League came out of a friendship where a friend of mine who has his own wrestling league here in El Paso,
Nice.
we were working on it for a while, where he wanted to do a comic book. And then in the conversations we had, he developed his own league, his own actual wrestling league. So the premise that we had was a book about his life, but obviously exaggerated with monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then when his wrestling league came into fruition, it was more like, let's have you and your son as the main characters of the comic book. And what's the twist on this one is that we actually have landmarks of El Paso that are in the background of the story. So, like the headquarters in which they come out of is from the Franklin Mountain. They actually come out of the star from the Franklin Mountain. One of the first villains that they fight is this kind of like reminiscent of Munra from
Yeah.
Thundercats.
Yeah.
They end up fighting in the San Jacinto Plaza. So there's a lot of El Paso influence as far as that comic book is concerned.
Dude,
And
that's just that stuff like that is just so cool. Like when you
yeah,
represent your
yeah.
own
What
city.
what 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 I feel like really anchors this comic book is the fact that whenever we go to cons,
Mhm.
um, whereas you go to cons and you're like, oh well, I draw this character or that character, but in my situation, I draw this character. I could turn around and point to the wrestler and say, this is him. This is the actual person it's based on, and this
That's
is his
cool.
son, and this is the actual person it's based on. So a lot of people are taken aback because they're not used to having the stars as right next to me, and then them looking at themselves in the comic book.
Yeah. Dude, that's so
So
cool, man.
yeah, so I mean, like his son, he's his wrestler name is Lobito,
Mhm.
and then my friend, his name is Hombre Lobo. So they're the stars, and it's very family oriented book. The way I approached it was very in the vein of like Power Rangers,
Mhm.
where there's like a lot of action, and then the monster comes out and they have to defeat the monster. Like I said, it's the backdrop is El Paso, which another thing I wanted to draw some more attention to El Paso, especially
That's
with everything going on right now.
Is it like El Paso from the movie Blue Beetle, or is it like El Paso, El Paso?
No, it's the actual El
Dude,
Paso.
I was so
It's not.
upset about that. I was just like, ah. But no, dude, I love stuff like I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, and Ray too. Like we're proud of our city and our
Oh yeah.
surrounding areas, man. Like there's no other city like us, and
It's
that,
home. It's home.
that
I mean,
yeah,
I lived outside of El Paso for a few years. I was in San Antonio, but the one thing I could would always say is like San Antonio is like El Paso, just bigger. But
yeah.
it never got out of it. Never really came out of my system where it's like I'm not from El Paso. I'm from there or whatever. I was always from El Paso, and I still am from El Paso. And that's one of the things that I really um, center on as far as a creator is like I'm Hispanic
Mhm.
and I'm from El Paso and I'm an artist and I'm a creator and that's really what I really push to a lot of people that as creators or people who are trying to create something brand new is like give it all you got, man. Give it all what you got because I mean always as a little kid I've been drawing. Then I met Ray in high school. We
Mhm.
started doing our comic books and then we're still doing our comic books,
Nice.
even
Yeah.
as old men or young old men.
We're not old,
Speak for
man.
yourself,
We're
sir.
not. Gotta say we're not old. Like no,
I
no,
still have
man.
luscious hair back here, man. It's
I know,
all
dude. I love it.
yeah,
Dude, you can't be old and have those locks, man.
exactly the top
it's
knot.
it's those gray soul patches that we have
Ah,
that age us.
the
Like
the sun does
I
that.
got a
The
Bob
sun does
Barker
that
in
to
it.
you, man. The sun does that to you guys.
It just depends on the person's pH level that you're with. That's a whole other.
PH.
I'll explain it to you later.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I mean, you guys are like, I mean, you guys are like the perfect match for because I mean, I love comic books, and you guys do comic books, and then you guys are not only like do the comic books, you guys are from this area, you're homegrown. I love it, and then you guys all, like you said, you guys include El Paso sometimes in the comics. It's just so cool, and I'll spread the word as much as I can, especially about Bloodhammer coming out and 656 comics and things like that. I mean, Ray, from you, I'll go back to you real quick to talk a little bit about 656 comics. I mean, what's some if you can talk a little about some of your favorite projects you've done with them
sure, no problem.
from the
As
comics.
far as 6x6, I've been working with them off and on for like the past 20 years as well.
Hmm.
They're all based out of Juarez.
Yeah.
And just like we have a love for our town, 6x6 Comics has a love for their town, for Juarez. And Juarez is if not as rich or if not more rich than the history that El Paso has.
Yeah.
And when I met these guys, it was just the same thing. Like I need to get my tribe together, and that's something that's really special too. Like when you're coming up and you're doing books, you're doing comics, you're doing anything that's artistic, you have to find your tribe.
Yeah.
And they will support you through everything, and they will tell you when you suck or when you don't, and they will praise you when you're great, and that's something that's very special. Like Dave, Dave has always been part of my tribe, and I've been part of his. And these guys from 656 is the same way. They've been working on their comics for the past 20 years. They involve their city very heavily in what they do. They so much so that I'll say this much, Ray. During the cartel wars back in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
656 Comics was working on some very, very like touchy subjects about the cartel wars, and they would get phone calls. They would get phone calls, nondescript phone calls, anonymous phone calls, asking them, "What are you doing? What do you
Oh
think you're
man.
writing about?" And it was intense, man, because they checked them out. Whoever they is, right, would check them
Yeah.
out and see what they were up to. So the work that they do is very profound and very impacting on the Juarez side, because not a lot of people over there want to speak up or talk about it.
Yeah.
There's a book that we did a few years ago. It was called Ñañaras, and Ñañaras pretty much means like goose pimples or like something scary.
Mm.
And one of the stories in there was called Junior, and the story about Junior, when we brought it, because we published it over there in Juarez, but when we brought it over here to the States and started taking it to some of the conventions, people were hooked on the story.
Yeah.
Junior, why? The whole gist of the story, and it even gives me chills just talking about it. But it's based on reality, and it's a horror story. It's what if you're a kid growing up to become a man in the cartel? What do
Wow.
you have to do in order to become a man? And that story, Junior, is about that. And once we presented that story to comic book people here in the States that were used to their Batman and their
Mhm.
Punisher and their Superman, their all that stuff. Once they saw the stuff that 656 Comics was doing, they were blown away. And they're like, "Is this real? Is this really going on?" And we're like, "Well, I mean, don't you read the newspaper? Don't you read
Yeah.
the headlines? This is happening." So that's the type of work that really drew me to work with them because those are the type of stories that I wanted to present, especially about my side of town,
Hmm.
which is El Paso. And we did that with the Cryptidnals as well. We took a lot of local myths and legends, the cryptids, and we put them into this book about. It's kind of like a horror type X Men,
Yeah.
La Llorona, Spring Hill Jack, the Man Dog. You know, all these characters are kind of like the X Men, but they're based out of local legends here in Texas and in Juarez and in New Mexico. And we really, put a spin on that whole genre of like, what is a superhero team, or what does it take to be in a superhero team? But it's more of a horror superhero team,
Yeah.
and that's the type of stuff that these guys help me with. Like when we start putting out, books and stories that are unique, like you're saying, unique stories that are very unique to the area because we're representing where we come from. And Spider-Man has New York, and Batman has Gotham
Hmm.
City. But here in town, we're hoping like the characters that we have that are coming up, like, oh, those are from El Paso, those are from
Yeah.
Juarez, and the surrounding area. So that's kind of like what we're trying to push on our side, the value of our cities. Kind of like you were saying earlier, what happened in Blue Beetle, like that wasn't El Paso, you
Yeah.
know. And I understand the reasons that they did what they did,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like they could have represented El Paso a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I want to be proud of my city. I want to be proud of where I live and where I came from, where all these ideas originated from. So that's pretty much it. Like we're working with 6x6 Comics. We kind of like work off of each other and present the best of our cities. What we have to offer.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, you guys have done amazing work, and I'll be honest myself. I need to go. I need to get a hold of some of your guys' work so I can start reading more of it. And I know as I was gonna ask David that last time I saw him over at Comic Addict, but I had to leave with the little one. But I wanted to pick up a couple of his stuff that he had there, and I'll have to get with you guys. And also, let me throw this out there to you. I'll go with Ray first. I mean, if people are interested in some of the past titles you got, is can they go anywhere to get a hold of you or buy or pick up any? What's how can someone pick up, like, for example, some of the Cryptidnals?
So currently, we do have a store for 6x6 Comics. It's 6x6 Comics on Big Cartel, and you can go on there and just type in 6x6 Comics in Google, and it'll probably take you there, so you can pick up what we have as far as product, because we don't have very much, man. We've been selling
Yeah.
out everywhere. The one thing that we are very proud of is, I'm not sure. I think you've interviewed him here before, Raymond Gay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
Raymond is on fire right now. He's like drawing
He is.
Spawn. He's drawing all this craziness. He drew an X-Men cover. When I first met Raymond, this was years and years ago. He was doing other comics. We were all in the same kind of groups,
Mhm.
and I asked him right before he hit it big. I asked him like, "Hey man, would you mind drawing a cover for us?" And yeah, like he like jumped at the chance. He's like, "Yeah, let's do it, man." So he drew a cover for us for the original run of the Cryptidnals, and then recently he drew another cover for us for a convention that we did in New Mexico, and that book is still available on the 6x6 Comics website, and it's a Raymond Gay original. And right now he's actually talking to us. He actually approached us and he wants to do another cover for us. So we're like, dude, you have Spawn going on. What do you want to do with us?
No,
He's like, I love the characters.
yeah, dude. That
So
sounds like Ray a lot, though. I mean, Ray's
he
so humble, and
is.
he's so supportive of everyone here in El Paso, man. He loves the city as much as us.
Yeah, him and Irene, dude, are great people.
Yep.
I love them to death, dude.
Yeah, they
And
are.
they make El Paso shine when knowing that he's from here and knowing the heights that he's reached so
Yeah.
far. So, but going back to what you were asking, you can find some of our books on that one on 6x6 Comics on Big Cartel.
Mhm.
You can also find some of our books on eBay. They're a little pricey, but they're
Yeah.
on there. It's 6x6 Comics as well, and you can follow us on like X and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and see what else we're doing, what new stuff we're up to right now. And I know X is
Yeah.
kind of like a cesspool, but there's still some people on there that are doing good work, so you
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
follow
for
us
sure.
there. Mhm.
Cool, man. And then the same thing you, David. Is there do you have a handle, like anywhere people can contact you or get a hold of some of your books?
They can find me on Facebook or they can find me on Instagram. I'm also on X. I'm also on Threads. You can find me under David Olivares. Usually on my Instagram, all you'll see is artwork.
Yeah.
My Facebook page, I'll have artwork, whatever I'm working on. Um, or you could just email me at olivaresmailbag@yahoo.com. Or you can also, for the Lucha League stuff, you can actually find them as well on Facebook and Instagram, and it would be under Lucha League. and then you could send him an email or you can send me an email, and then we can send out the books to you. As far as the newer stuff, that's still pending. As far as the Blood Hammer,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff that I've worked on before, but now it's just a matter of collecting it together, and then just having it out there. So I'm pretty sure you can find that on, like I said, on my Facebook or my Instagram. I usually post on a daily basis what I'm working on.
Awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. I'll make sure I get all you guys' information, all the contacts I'll put in the description below so people can follow you guys. Make sure they keep up so when we know when Bloodhammer's coming out and make sure everything's coming down and follow you guys. Check out your artwork, all your past work, things like that. And dude, I'm excited, dude. I can't wait for Bloodhammer to come out and get a hold of, and I need, like I said, I need to get a hold of Lucha League books so I can start reading those, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just whenever we get your information. I mean, I have the original book that we worked on, the first issue and second issue,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, just a bunch of all of the other stuff that we've collaborated on. We can send it out to you.
Yeah, no problem. Just let me know, and I'll get together with you guys, send payment, and we'll be good to go. And you guys,
Absolutely,
I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. I'll make like again, I'll put all your information in the description below so people can contact you. Is there? I'll go with Ray, and then you, David. Anything else you guys like to say before we end today?
I want to thank you, man, like honestly, for having us on here. I know, like, whenever we see each other, I'm always like, when are you gonna have me on?
Let's get
When
on.
are we gonna be on? But I appreciate the work that you're doing, brother, because you
Oh,
are
thanks.
bringing light to light the locally sourced, right? No, check it out, locally sourced, right there.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
need more stickers, by the way.
yeah, yeah. I haven't used this one because I want to get another one to use. I want to keep this one, but yeah, dude, you do a lot of good work, man, and
I
thank you for
appreciate
bringing
that.
forth all of these guys that are creatives in the area that are doing something different, that are bringing El Paso to light. I appreciate that very much, man. So thank you for that, Ray.
I appreciate the kind words, man. I really do. And then David, go to you, man. Anything else you'd like to say right before we end today, man?
just the same thing what Ray said. We really appreciate you having us on the show, and then just to all the people who are creating out there, just keep on creating because it didn't begin with us and it's not going to end with us. I want more creators to be creating after
Yeah.
us. All the kids out there who are either writers, artists, painters, poets, whatever. I just want El Paso to shine as much as they can for as long as they can with all the creators that we have.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I really appreciate again, guys. Thank you for coming on, Ray, David. Thank you for the kind words, and I can't wait to get a hold of your books. Again, follow them. All information description below, so they can hook up with you guys and follow you, get the new stuff, staying up to date with all the cool projects from you, Ray, and from you, David, and 656 Comics. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Have a
you,
good one.
sir.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night.
All right.